Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I am back with another video. All right, y'all, for more boxing talk, just subscribe to the Jab Effect YouTube channel and subscribe here as well to the Combo Breaker 99 YouTube channel just for, combat sports talk in general. But yeah, man, this past Saturday, Teofimo Lopez, he was able to upset Vasyl Lomachenko. Very entertaining lightweight unification fight. Teofimo becomes the unified champion with a very hard-earned unanimous decision over Vasyl Lomachenko. Honestly, man, this was a fight with two different textures. It was almost like a seesaw battle. Not like back and forth in every round, but early on in the fight, early on in the first half of the fight, it really favored the younger, stronger puncher who was able to take advantage of his size and his reputation as a hard puncher. Whereas the boxer in Loma, he had an uphill battle. He had that uphill battle, and he took over in the later rounds whenever he realized the fight was slipping and that he was a little too far behind. Loma, he fought with that urgency after being inactive in the early part of the fight and part of the second half. He started boxing more and taking chances in the pocket, touching Lopez. But in my opinion, when he started playing catch up, it was too late. I think that he let too many rounds slip. Lopez done earned more than enough to win the fight. I think that Lomachenko, he was a little bit too weary of the power. So Lopez took advantage of the slow start, started backing Lomachenko up, using a good jab, body work to really keep Loma moving. And you can really see the punch difference too, the strength in punches. Whenever Lopez would land, he would really be able to move Lopez. He would be Lomachenko. Lomachenko, the thing is, like, he wasn't really in there with like this great boxer. He was just in there with a much bigger fighter. Not like really like this really massive lightweight, but he was definitely in there with a bigger, stronger puncher and somebody with good skills. That's the one thing. Teofimo Lopez definitely does have good skill. Like, he's not great, but he's still learning. And if you put all that together, like good skill, good pop, and good size, that's usually going to beat the more flashier fighter. So he was just really able to stand in there with Lomachenko, take his punches, and take some punches to give his more heavier punches. And that's the one thing I think that fans, they were waiting to see for Lomachenko to really see his style tested against a young big game fighter at 135. I did feel like Lomachenko would have taken, in my opinion, I did feel like he would have taken Lopez to school, but I think that he was a little too weary of the power, and that's what really cut down on his volume punching. And honestly, man, his footwork, it wasn't enough to frustrate Lopez. It was the smaller guys because he was able to get around them, but again, when you talk about Lopez, he measured the distance well. He was never in that pocket too long. He was measuring just enough so he could see everything Lomachenko was doing. That's why I'm saying, like, he has good skill, and that's something that he's still going to build up, as he gets older. I think Lomachenko in this fight had to be the sniper. He really needed to pick Teofimo Lopez apart, with snapping 1-2s and just dip out, dip side to side, to avoid at the same time frustrate, instead of just running. I think he was on the bite too much in this fight because he was respecting the power. And by the time that Lomachenko realized that openers were there, it was too late. I think that Lomachenko was in that, I'm behind mind frame when he finally realized, hey, I can touch this guy. And at the same time, he's not hitting me as hard as I thought, but I got him weary now down the line, but it's a little too late. If we just go back and look at the first half of the fight, I really couldn't give Lomachenko any round, man. Like, I think that Lopez, he did a good job of really just applying the pressure on Lomachenko, taking advantage of these rounds while Loma was just overly cautious of the power. Loma in the first few rounds landed like Lopez in the first few rounds, he landed some good jabs and right hands, like even just like punching on the guard, which is what you really need to do against a guy like Lomachenko. Like, if the head's not there, then you need to go to the body or just hit the arms or hit the guard, to kind of knock him back. And again, the body work was effective from Lopez because that's what opened up the right hand. I think it was like round 2. Lomachenko, he was blocking a lot of shots and definitely like avoiding getting hit clean. Like, he wasn't really like rocked in this fight, but he wasn't countering. He was definitely like slowing down. Lopez was definitely slowing down the punch output of Lomachenko in this fight, just with his pressure. Again, like, for Lomachenko in this fight, he really needed to use more subtle angles and not use his legs so much. He needed to really just kind of like slip his head and slip the jab, slip the straight left hand more so, and kind of stay in the pocket just enough to get these shots off and kind of turn Lopez then. You know what I mean? Like, not just stay on the bike too much, because when you're staying on the bike and a guy is using good distance like Lopez is, Lopez is just going to see every time you stop and try to come inside. So if you try to go on the bike, and then you stop to throw a flurry, he's going to time that sooner or later. So he needed to be more of a precision puncher in this fight, instead of throwing the volume. I think that's where Lomachenko kind of let the round slip. I think Lopez just did well by moving Lomachenko with these body punches and just hitting the guard, because there was a few times he would just hit him hard and he would just kind of he would reel back into the ropes. Then I saw like Lomachenko's face just getting kind of red. I was like, oh yeah, he's doing damage. I think that Lopez is doing some damage. So I'd say like first half of the fight, I had it 6-0 for Lopez. Call me crazy, you can disagree or not, but I think that Lopez was up all 6 rounds, and I gave him round 7 too. I couldn't give round 2 to Lomachenko. I don't know why people gave. I think there was like one punch he landed in that round, so I don't know how he earned that. So yeah, round 7 I gave to Lopez, because I feel like he continued on, making it a competitive round. He got the better punches in, but round 8, this was where there was a big change in Lomachenko's approach. He started letting his hands go. Somebody must have told him that you ain't did jack in the first half of the fight, so it's time to let your hands go. So he did have some good moments, landing the jab now, the straight left hand, coming over the top with the right hook, and landing better, had a better punch selections. I was like, yeah, this is what Lomachenko needs to do if he wants to win. You got to mark this guy up and snap his head back. Like, I honestly feel like Lopez was really starting to get tired in the second half. Maybe he felt like he did enough to win the first 7 rounds. I don't know, or maybe he just was kind of mentally drained at this point from being so focused. But I really do think that Lopez kind of took the back seat as Lomachenko came on stronger and stayed in the pocket, because Loma was getting some shots in these rounds. He wasn't able to really like hurt Lopez, but he started throwing in combinations and started clinching a little bit more. And this was this, and honestly, this was like the second time Lopez has been, I think, 12 rounds in his career. So to me, I think maybe he was starting to get a little tired of just trying to pace himself. But when we got into like round 9, there was some good combinations from Lomachenko landing. He was really, like I said, snapping the head back and, just stepping out. And then when you talk about the championship rounds, I think that Lopez, he started coming back a little bit stronger, trying to shove Lomachenko back a few times. But this was crunch time for Loma. Loma started landing those combinations and trying to overwhelm Lopez. I think there was a headbutt. I think it was like in either around 11 or 12. But he was really touching Lopez. But I got to give Lopez credit, because he wasn't frustrated. You could see that Lopez wasn't fazed by the punching power or the accumulation of punches. I think he was just trying to ride out these last few rounds, as Lomachenko came on stronger. And yeah, I gave Lomachenko the championship round. So all in all, I had it 7-5 for Teofimo Lopez. I think that, again, like up to round 7, it was all Lopez, and then up to round 8, Lomachenko just started playing catch up. But to me, like I said, it was so decisively in that first. It was already so decisive up to round 7, in my opinion, where you knew that Teofimo already bagged enough rounds, and Lomachenko wasn't doing anything. He just wasn't active enough. Lopez controlled those rounds because Lomachenko wasn't punching enough. So I think it was just a matchup where Lomachenko wasn't able to adjust to a bigger fighter and change his style and approach, or bigger puncher, if you will, because moving up to 135, he's a guy that fought at some lower weights. Moving up to 135, you can't take the same approach that you did at like the lower weights. You got to start shifting your style to where you can pick your shots and make them more stronger. These little pity pat punches, they're not going to hurt bigger guys. They're going to absorb them. So you got to start becoming more of a sniper, where you make them count. The 1-2s have to count. I know fans will say that Loma has different levels, but I think it's obvious he wasn't able to shift, man. And that's why he lost a lot of the early rounds, because if he did, he would have been more like, let's say, like even Floyd or Sugar Ray Leonard, where they have their feeling out process, but all the while in the first few rounds, they're doing enough to bag some rounds. You know, they're testing things out and they're testing the waters. They may let a round slip here or there, but they don't let a whole damn half of the fight slip. See, Lomachenko let the whole fight slip. You know, he didn't let his hands go into until round 5 or 6. And even then, you know, he wasn't winning rounds. You know, Lopez, on the other hand, I like that he kept a cool head and didn't really let this whole Matrix hype get to him. You know, he just stayed in there and, you know, he didn't wait on Lomachenko. He punched first. He went to the body and, you know, he just kept his composure. So overall, it was just a good fight, man. Honestly, I think that moving forward, you know, Lopez, you know, he has a lot of opportunities ahead of him. And one of the fights that we want to see is Devin Haney. You know, that's a fight where I feel like, you know, the physicality will match up more so. You know, we got 2 young lions ready to put it all on the line. The official WBC champion in Devin Haney and the unified champion in Teofimo Lopez. So, yeah, that's a fight that really makes sense. You know, it needs to happen. So, Teofimo doesn't need to move up to 140. Just make this fight happen here because, like I said, it's 2 young lions, 123, 121. I think Haney's 21, 21, 22, whatever. But, yeah, they're both in that same league with belts. So, it's another fight that really needs to happen. Moving forward from here for Lomachenko, I think that 135 is too big. Maybe needs to go back to 130 or 126. I really don't want to see a Teofimo Lopez rematch because I think if a rematch happens, Lopez might actually be able to stop him in this one. Because honestly, too, man, I was going to say the texture of this fight kind of was like, I want to say it was kind of like Roy Jones versus Antonio Tarver 1, you know, where I'd say that, you know, the more flat-footed puncher was able to kind of back the flashy boxer up and get his shots off and just, you know, keep him weary of the power. You know, that's what it was kind of similar to, in my opinion. But, yeah, man, overall it's a good fight. Like I said, Teofimo, he did what he needed to do. I did feel like Lomachenko was going to win this fight. I feel like he would have used his experience and made good adjustments to this type of puncher, but he wasn't able to do that, you know. So this was just another fight where we get to see what level Lomachenko really is on. But yeah, man, that's all I got on this, guys. Like I said, make sure y'all subscribe here and subscribe to the Jab Effect as well as Combo Breaker 99. I am out, guys. Subscribe. Peace.